Hi, I'm Carly K. Dobson,
I'm Anthony Billy.
I'm Dakota Jones.
and this is the NI Vision-based tracking system for ETDE 3513 Programming for Instrumentation at Oklahoma State University Institute of Technology. Here's a quick overview of the contents to be discussed in this presentation. We'll start out by discussing the project overview, which includes the objectives and the background information. Next, we will discuss the project features, which includes the manual and autonomous modes. Then we'll have two demonstrations, one for the manual and one for the autonomous mode. Next, we'll talk about the project parts, the job functions, then the milestones. This is a quick overview of the project. If you'll notice, there are three objectives that were executed in designing and constructing the NI Vision-based tracking system. The first is mobility. The second is the project's ability to be manually controlled by an input device. And the third is the project's ability to be autonomously controlled through a sensor. This is some background information about the project. When we first got this project, we were going to add more features, but we found that it did not even function properly as is. So we tested the integrity of the parts and components and found that one servo motor needed to be replaced. And replacing the servo motor, the chassis was deconstructed and rebuilt.
This is a brief layout of our project features. This project is mobile. The chassis is a two-piece standalone assembly. It can be easily broken down, transported, and set up again. There are two primary modes of operation: a manual mode in which an input device is used for control by an operator, and an autonomous mode in which a processed camera feed is used for automatic target tracking. When we set up the manual control, we were able to configure the system to accept inputs from either a computer mouse or an Xbox One controller. Under autonomous mode, all control is done after referencing the processed feed from the camera, which is acting as the sensor for the system.
This is the manual mode operation. It is pretty straightforward. The Xbox One controller is acting as the input device that controls the servo motors. Normally I would be able to watch the feed from the camera that is mounted on the gun on the front panel, but due to technical difficulties that wasn't possible. So as you can see, aiming the gun and hitting the target was a little bit difficult.
This is a small demonstration of the system's automatic mode as seen from the LabVIEW's front panel. To the left of the camera view are the controls and indicators. These include the mode selection drop-down, tracking speed settings for the automatic mode, the trigger safety switch, dimensions of the target area you'll see on the camera view in a minute, and the target color selector. At the moment, the standby mode is selected, which means the servos are set to their home positions and all control inputs are ignored, but the camera feed is still processed for the target color. The green line shows the approximate centroid of the color detected. When the auto modes is selected, the system attempts to adjust the servo positions to bring the target centroid into the target area. That area is defined by the red square that you see on screen. If the target moves outside of that area, the system adjusts its aim to try and compensate. Unless the safety switch is toggled, the gun won't fire. When switched, the gun will only fire when it's the target area. And to ensure that the gun does not fire when there is not a target in view, it will also not fire if the calculated center is directly centered in the frame. This would indicate that there is no target of interest in the image.
As shown in the block diagram, if the manual mode is selected, the input is sent from the Xbox One controller and is sent to a computer running LabVIEW. From the computer, the control signal is sent to the Arduino. From the Arduino, the pulse width modulation signal is sent to both servos acting as the X and Y axis to control the movement of the gun. If the autonomous mode is selected, the process changes from an open loop to a closed loop system. The autonomous mode is the same as the manual mode, with the exception of the camera acting as a feedback sensor to the closed loop system. The software used to control the system was LabVIEW and Arduino IDE. The hardware used for this project was Arduino Uno, two servo motors, a camera, a Nerf gun, and an Xbox One controller. Here are the job functions for each team member. Carly K. Dawson oversees the management of the project as well as programming the manual mode of operation. As you can see, Dakota Jones designed the construction of the chassis, which include all mechanical builds and electrical wiring. and Anthony Billy focused on programming software for the manual mode of operation with a computer mouse and the autonomous mode of operation. Here are the milestones for the project. As you can see from the chart, the project has some delays beginning with the manual control of the mounted gun, which caused delays in the rest